Good morning students. Today we are taking our second video period of the geography, that is, and welcome towards the Sanskar YouTube channel and subscribe our YouTube channel. So today we are learning in our second video period, that is the geography, and in a first video period we learn about the physical division of India. In that we learn about the first portion, it is known as the Himalayan, then second we learn the North Indian plain. Now in this video period we learn about, that is the Ganga Brahmaputra system, which is related to the North Indian plain. So while learn about the Ganga Brahmaputra system, what we learn, that is the Ganga Brahmaputra system, it is the geological process. While learn is how there is the formation of the Ganga Brahmaputra system. The formation of the Ganga Brahmaputra system, it is known as the geological process. This geological process, it is also known as the deposition. So I think when we all in a 9th standard, so in that we learn about what is the depositional work of the rivers. It is known as the depositional work of the rivers. So I learned the Ganga Brahmaputra system. So it is the Ganga Brahmaputra system, it is formed due to the depositional work of the river Satluj and their tributaries. Tributaries म्हणजे नद्या आणि त्यांच्या उपनद्या, it means it is known as the tributaries. So first we get the definition of the formation. Geological process means what, and the deposition. This deposition म्हणजेच geological process आणि geological process म्हणजे deposition. मग आता आपण समजून घेऊया की ही geological process कशी असते रिव्हरची, ज्याला आपण deposition असं म्हणतो. बघा, the first note down what is the definition of the deposition, how there is the form the depositional work of the river. There is a definition, that is the deposition means it is the geological process in which sediments म्हणजे rock, it is a type of the sedimentary rock, that is the sediments, soil, rock are added to landforms, weathered surface material which at the loss of enough kinetic energy in the flood it deposited, building up layers of sediments. For example, whatever the sediments, rock, soil, rock are flooded with the flow of the river, and when there is a, due to the force of the kinetic energy or the convectional force, there is the stop all the materials of the river. It means it is known as the depositional work. But once again we learn by this diagram, we learn what is the depositional work or what is the geological process. So for example, if we think about it is the river, so the force of the river, it is going in this way. नदी आहे, ती नदी वाहते. For example, we can say it is the river, there is the flowing of the rivers. But while the flowing of the rivers, when the rivers start to flow, that is the at a certain place the river slow down. म्हणजे नदीचा जो फोर्स आहे तो काय होतो, कमी होतो. It means the river slow down, and after the river slow down, that whatever the river, that river totally lost their energy. It is the river, slip of tongue, that is the river loss of energy. After the river, when the river lost their energy, then after whatever the material into the river, that is the deposited one place. It is known as the deposited. म्हणजे एका जागी काय होतं, थांबतं. आपण पुन्हा दुसऱ्या डायग्रामने समजून घेऊ. For example, we get, it is the diagram north, south, west, east. What we learned, the geological process and the deposition, the formation of the Ganga Brahmaputra system. So we get the idea, where is the Ganga Brahmaputra system? So Himalaya, North Indian plain. Then while this portion going in this way, according to that, this portion also come towards in this way. आपण भारताच्या नकाशामध्ये बघू शकतो की वेस्ट बेंगॉलच्या बाजूला असे सुंदरबन डेल्टा दिलेले आहेत. तुम्ही बघा तुमच्या पुस्तकात दिलेले आहे, बघू शकता त्याच्यामध्ये दिसलाय. हां, so according to that there is the formation of this in this way, that is the, it is known, बघा पुस्तकात दिल्या पद्धतीमध्ये in a green color. So in this way there is the form the Sundarban delta. This Sundarban delta, it is the नदीचाच प्रकार असतो, but it is formed due to the depositional work of the river. So this consists the behind the West Bengal. It is the part of the West Bengal. It is the part of the West Bengal. So whatever the depositional work of the Ganga Brahmaputra system, that is the means this portion it is going towards the river flow. Whatever the flow of the river due to the low lying area of the, that whatever the river going towards in this way, there is the meet of the three rivers. It is known as the Ganga Brahmaputra and other rivers. So when there is the all the river flow from this side, so that is come into towards the one place, which is that place which is the consistent part of the West Bengal. It is known as the delta. डेल्टा जर बघायचं तर की पुस्तकामध्ये दिलं आहे, डेल्टाचं चित्र दिलं आहे ते तुम्ही बघू शकता. इन दिस देर इज द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द डेल्टा. सो दिस सुंदरबन गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम, इट इज ऑल्सो नोन ॲज द डेल्टा, अँड दिस डेल्टा फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द डिपोजिशनल वर्क. So this depositional work means that is the river slow down, then river lose their energy and the river deposit its load. when the river flow in this time, when the river flow in this way, so after the flowing of the river, that river lose their energy. तिचा जो फोर्स असतो, तिची जी एनर्जी असते ती काय होते, लॉस होते. आफ्टर लॉस द एनर्जी दे डिपॉझिटेड, म्हणजे त्या नदीसोबत वाहून आलेले जे काही मटेरियल असेल, खडक असेल, माती असेल, त्या तापमानासोबत, त्या हवामानासोबत त्या नदीमध्ये जे काही असेल आतमध्ये मटेरियल्स, रॉक असेल, मिनरल्स असेल, पार्टिकल्स असतील, सेडिमेंट रॉक असेल, डिफरंट टाईप ऑफ रॉक, ते जे काही वाहून आले ते एका ठिकाणी थांबतात. इट मीन्स इट इज नोन ॲज द डिपॉझिट. सो नदीच्या प्रवाहाबरोबर आलेले जे काही खनिज द्रव्य असतात ते एका ठिकाणी थांबतात. इट मीन्स इट इज नोन ॲज द डिपोजिशन. So this deposition, it means it is known as the geological process. And a geological process time, when there is with the flow of the water, which whatever the minerals are flowing with the flow of the water, it means it is known as the geological process. So for the Ganga Brahmaputra system, we learned the definition. Then after definition, we also learned the what is the geological process. Then after we also take the example, where is the form the delta. This Ganga Brahmaputra system, it is also known as the delta. So these all the points given in your write down, given your notebook, and with the notes you make these points in your notebook. So write down the definition of the geological process, figure 2.1, figure 2.2. So maintain in this your book. Then till soon we will take the explanation of this point which is related to the Ganga Brahmaputra system. So first write down this, take a screenshot. ओके, लिहिलं तुम्ही. आता आपण हे पॉईंट बघूया. द गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम, दिस इज द पॉईंट वी गेट द एक्सप्लेनेशन, बट बिफोर द एक्सप्लेनेशन वी हॅव टू ड्रॉ द वन्स अगेन द डायग्राम विच इज द लाईक दॅट. सो राईट डाऊन इन युअर नोटबुक, मेक द 4 लाईन. यस, नॉर्थ, साऊथ, वेस्ट and east. Okay, it is the figure 2.1 which is denoted the Ganga Brahmaputra system. So I learned the Ganga Brahmaputra system, it is the West Bengal. So I learned the North Indian plain, whatever the formation of the river, due to the formation of the river, here is the form the Ganga Brahmaputra system. It is also known as the delta. According to that, delta means what? जिथे त्रिवेणी नद्यांचा संगम होतो, it means it is known as the delta. It is the West Bengal part. So in this region, if we come towards there is the West Bengal. This region we can say it is known as the West Bengal. Okay. Then second, the western part of the North Indian plain is occupied by desert. North Indian plain is occupied by desert. This portion it is all related to the desert. So according to that, there is a given the explanation of the second point. First what? This Ganga Brahmaputra system, it is the consist the part of the West Bengal. पुस्तकात बघू शकता तुम्ही वेस्ट बेंगॉल आहे, वेस्ट बेंगॉलच्या बाजूला सुंदरबन डेल्टा आहे. सो वी ॲज्युम हिअर, आपण इथे गृहीत धरतो की वेस्ट बेंगॉल, दिस इज द वेस्ट बेंगॉल. सो द बिसाइड ऑफ द वेस्ट बेंगॉल देर इज द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द डेल्टा. इज इट क्लिअर? विच इज द स्टेट ऑफ द बांगलादेश. देन वी एक्सप्लेन द सेकंड पार्ट. मग दुसऱ्या मुद्द्यात काय म्हणतो आपण की द वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन. मग नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन हा आपला नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन आहे. ओके, राईट डाऊन, दिस इज द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेट. ओके, दिस इज द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन. दुसरं बघा आपला मुद्दा काय, दुसरा मुद्दा असा आहे बघा, द वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन इज ऑक्युपाइड बाय डेझर्ट. आता वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ नॉर्थ इंडिया, मग वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ नॉर्थ इंडिया म्हणजेच नॉर्थ इंडियाचा वेस्टर्न पार्ट कोणता आहे? हा आहे आपला नॉर्थ इंडिया. मग नॉर्थ इंडियाचा वेस्टर्न भागासाठी म्हणजे आपल्याला 4 तुकड्यात विभाजन करावं लागेल, डिवाइड करावं लागेल. सो वन्स अगेन वी डिवाइड द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन इन 4 साइड. अपर नॉर्थ, बिलो साऊथ, धिस वेस्ट, धिस ईस्ट. इट इज नोन ॲज, वी गेट द आन्सर. सो धिस रिजन इट इज नोन ॲज द वेस्ट. हा जो पोर्शन येतोय हा वेस्ट येतोय, करेक्ट. सो द वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन इज ऑक्युपाइड बाय डेझर्ट. या नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेनचा जो वेस्टर्न पार्ट आहे म्हणजे ही साईड ही डेझर्टने ऑक्युपाइड आहे. व्हेरी वेल नोन दॅट. माहिती आहे आपल्याला, इकडे गेलो तर राजस्थान मिळतो. सो धिस पार्ट इट इज ऑक्युपाइड बाय द डेझर्ट अँड धिस डेझर्ट इट इज ऑल्सो नोन ॲज द थार. याला आपण थारसुद्धा असं म्हणतो. धिस रिजन इट इज ऑल्सो नोन ॲज द थार, जिथे वाळवंटी प्रदेश आहे. इज इट क्लिअर? देन वी एक्सप्लेन द थर्ड पॉईंट. आपण तिसरा पॉईंट बघतो. मग तिसऱ्या पॉईंटमध्ये काय म्हटलं आहे? मोस्ट ऑफ द राजस्थान, म्हणजे राजस्थानचा जो पार्ट आहे मोस्ट ऑफ द राजस्थान इज ऑक्युपाईड बाय धिस डेझर्ट. आपण जर राजस्थानला गेले असेल तर माहितीच आहे की वॉट एव्हर द होल पोर्शन ऑफ द होल लँड मास ऑफ द राजस्थान इट इज टोटली कवर्ड बाय द डेझर्ट, वाळूने. So this region is totally covered by the Rajasthan is covered by the desert. And fourth, this region is spread to the west to the Delhi. कुठला पार्ट? हा गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टमचा. का बरं आपण म्हणतो की इथनं गंगा रिव्हर पण फ्लो होते म्हणून त्याला गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम म्हटलं आहे. धिस रिजन इज स्प्रेड टू द वेस्ट ऑफ दिल्ली. मग आता दिल्ली, वेस्ट ऑफ दिल्ली म्हणजे दिल्ली तर नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेनमध्ये येते. वेस्ट ही वेस्ट आहे म्हणजेच एक्सटेन्शन पार्ट ऑफ द गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम इट इज ऑल्सो कनेक्टेड. धिस रिजन म्हणजे कोणतं? गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम. सो धिस गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम धिस रिजन इज स्प्रेड टू द वेस्ट ऑफ दिल्ली. म्हणजे इथे जर दिल्ली असेल तर त्या दिल्लीच्या वेस्टपर्यंत सुद्धा तो गेलेला आहे. मग दिल्लीचं पण आपण जर डिवाइड केलं नॉर्थ, साऊथ, वेस्ट, ईस्ट म्हणजे इथपर्यंत. सो इट इज द एक्सटेन्शन पार्ट ऑफ द गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम. सो वी कॅन से वॉट एव्हर द फ्लो ऑफ द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन कन्सिस्ट टुवर्ड्स इन दिस वे देर इज द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द डेल्टा. आर यू गेट माय पॉईंट? सो नोट डाऊन दिस इज द गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टम विच इज द कन्सिस्ट पार्ट ऑफ द वेस्ट बेंगॉल. जिथे त्रिवेणी नद्यांचा संगम होतो त्याला आपण डेल्टा म्हणत असतो. तुमच्या पुस्तकामध्ये दिलेलं आहे गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्रा सिस्टमचं चित्र दिलं आहे. सुंदरबन डेल्टाचं चित्रसुद्धा दिलं आहे, ते तुम्ही बघू शकता. हे त्याचे पॉईंट्स आपण एक्सप्लेन केलेले. इफ यू हॅव एनी क्युरीज ऑर डाऊट्स, इफ यू डू नॉट अंडरस्टँड, सो राईट डाऊन टू मी द टीचर वी आर नॉट अंडरस्टँड. सो वन्स अगेन वी एक्सप्लेन this topic. Okay, so that is the Ganga Brahmaputra system. Note down the Ganga Brahmaputra system. It is also asked in an exam for the 2 marks. So mention this in your notebook. Then after we learn the peninsula. What is the peninsula? That is the peninsula plateau. So according to that, if we learn the peninsula, that is the peninsula, it is the third portion of the physical division of India. That is not a big part. We consist here. For example, in this way we consist this peninsula with the help of the diagram 2.1. It is considered north, it is considered south, it is considered west, it is considered east. Okay, so what is the peninsula? We were in a starting of the video when we start our first video period. So in the first video period we mentioned the difference between, what is the difference between the peninsula and the island. What is the peninsula? If the 3 sides of the land is covered by the water, it means it is known as the peninsula. And what is the island? If the 4 sides are covered by the water, it means it is known as the island. So what? It is the peninsula. This is the third portion. Means according to the 3 sides, 1, 2. These 3 sides are covered by the water. It means it is known as the peninsula. So this in आपण नकाशामध्ये बघितला जो internal portion of the physical division in India, this portion it is known as the peninsula. So according to that, in the this is the peninsula, and this peninsula consists the coastal plain which is known as the eastern coastal, which is known as the western coastal. It is also related to the eastern ghat and it is also known as the western ghat. Okay, now what is the, and it is also whatever the central part of the physical division of India. For example, we can say it is known as MP, it is known as the Madhya Pradesh. जे काही आजूबाजूचे जे काही स्टेट आहे, that all the states concluding the part of the peninsula. So you get the idea what is the peninsula, and it is the western ghat, eastern coast and east western coast. This is all the combined the part of the peninsula. Now the what is the ghat means what? If the land it is not a plain land, म्हणजे जमीन जर सरळ नसेल, जमीन सपाट नसेल तर तिला आपण प्लेन लँड नाही म्हणू शकत. इफ देर इज अ अप अँड डाऊन, जर स्ट्रक्चरचं जर अप अँड डाऊन असेल, खालीवर असेल, इट इज रोलिंग अँड रोलिंग. सो इट मीन्स इट इज नोन ॲज द घाट स्ट्रक्चर. फॉर एक्झाम्पल इफ यू गोइंग टुवर्ड द सातपुडा रिजन, जर आपण सातपुडा रिजनला गेलो तर तिकडे जो घाट मिळतो पचमढी वगैरे, इट इज नोन ॲज द माउंटेनस रिजन और द घाट्स. ओके, so write down this all the point, then we learn the whatever the coastal plain and the island. So write down this. Okay, our fourth physical division part, it is the coastal plain. That coastal plain has related to the 7,500 kilometer length. Then second, it lies eastern and western part of the peninsula. Then third, the western coast border of the Arabian Sea. The eastern coast border the Bay of Bengal. It is formed by the depositional work. Many east flowing river using from the western and eastern ghat meet the coast. नाही समजलं? व्हिडिओ आपण एक्सप्लेनेशन करूया बघा. So once again we are going with the help of the diagram. So once again we draw the diagram. We draw the diagram. That is the, it is the north. We get idea. It is the north. It is the south. It is the west and it is the east. Leela. Okay. Then in a first period we learn about the Himalaya, then we learn the North Indian plain, then we learn the peninsula, now we learn the coastal plain. Now we first draw the diagram where is the coastal plain. So we think it is the figure 2.1. Now coastal plain, it is the Himalaya, North Indian plain. Now whatever the portion, this portion it is known as the coastal plain, and before that the coastal plain there is also going towards the Ghat area which is known as the Eastern Ghat and the Western Ghat. Okay, are you get my point? समजत आहे ना बघा. कोस्टल प्लेन बघतोय आपण टेक्स्टबुकमध्ये मॅप आहे, मॅपमध्ये कोस्टल प्लेनचा जो ग्रीन स्काय ब्लू कलरमध्ये जे पाणी दिलेलं आहे दॅट इज द रिलेटेड टू दिस लाईन, इट इज नोन ॲज द कोस्टल प्लेन. So this coastal, and before that the one line show that is known as the ghat. पहले घाट structure है, then after the coastal line. So this is the ghat structure, this is the ghats, and this is the coastal line. It means it is known as the coastal plain. समुद्र किनाऱ्यालगतचा जो भाग आहे इट मीन्स इट इज नोन ॲज द कोस्टल प्लेन. सो दिस इज नोन ॲज द ईस्ट साईड. ही ईस्ट साईडला आहे म्हणून हा ईस्टर्न कोस्ट, हा वेस्ट साईडचे कोस्ट आहे म्हणून इट इज नोन ॲज द वेस्टर्न कोस्ट. इज इट क्लिअर? समजलं आहे? आता आपण याचं बघूया. दिस इज द कोस्टल प्लेन अँड अकॉर्डिंग टू द लेंथ ऑफ द कोस्टल प्लेन नियर अबाउट द 7,500 किलोमीटर. मग ते आपण कशी मोजूया? फ्रॉम ईस्ट टू साऊथ अँड वेस्ट टू साऊथ वॉट एवर द लेंथ ऑफ द कोस्ट, that is the length of the coast, it is near about the 7,500 kilometer length. Then second, it lies eastern and western part of the peninsula. How we explain? It lies म्हणजे सोबत, कुणाच्या सोबत? It lies eastern and western part of peninsula. We in a first or second we learn of this area, means according to that this whole area it is known as the peninsula. Why it is the peninsula? If the three sides of the land it is covered by the water, it means it is known as the peninsula. So this area it is known as the peninsula. The lies eastern and western part of the peninsula. या पेनिन्सुलाच्या ईस्ट साईडला आणि वेस्ट साईडला जो पार्ट आहे this portion it is known as the coastal plain. Then third, the western coast border the Arabian Sea. Western coast border with the Arabian Sea. ही जी वेस्ट कोस्ट आहे ही वेस्ट कोस्ट it is also known as the Arabian Sea. Is it clear? Then the eastern coast border of the Bay of Bengal. ही जी ईस्टर्न कोस्ट, नॉर्थ साऊथ वेस्ट ईस्ट, ही जी ईस्टर्न कोस्ट आहे धिस ईस्टर्न कोस्ट बॉर्डर्स द बे ऑफ बेंगॉल. इकडे काय आहे? बे ऑफ बेंगॉल. Then fourth, it is a formed by the depositional work. It is a formed by the depositional work. In a first video lecture we learned what is the depositional work. Due to the means depositional work it is known as the geological process, आणि depositional work of the river and geological process हे आपण बघितलेले आहे अगोदरच्या मुद्द्यांमध्ये. त्यामुळे आता आपण इथे depositional work नाही बघणार. बट इट इज ऑल्सो फॉर्म ड्यू टू द रिझन ऑफ द डिपोजिशनल वर्क. म्हणजेच नद्यांच्या समुद्रालगत जो काही पाग असतो तो वाहून आलेला असतो. इट इज नोन ॲज द डिपोजिशनल, जे आपण डीपमध्ये एक्सप्लेन केलं अगोदरच्या व्हिडिओमध्ये. Then the many east flowing rivers using from the western and the eastern ghat. It is known as the eastern ghat and it is known as the western ghat. So many east flowing river. या साईडमधून ज्या नद्या वाहत असतात मेनी इस्ट फ्लोईंग रिवर युजिंग फ्रॉम द वेस्टर्न अँड द ईस्टर्न घाट्स टू द कोस्ट. या कोस्टला मिळण्यासाठी इकडल्या आणि इकडल्या नद्या ज्या आहे या युजिंग करत असताना बाय धिस युजिंग दे आर मेट इन टू द वेस्टर्न अँड द ईस्टर्न कोस्टल प्लेन. सो इन दिस वे वी लर्न द फिजिकल डिव्हिजन ऑफ द कोस्टल प्लेन. This is known as the east coast and this is known as the west coast. So write down these all the points in your notebook. Then we learned our last point which is known as the islands, that is the we learned next Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. So but before that you just write down this all point in your notebook. आपण बघतोय आपला शेवटचा पॉईंट विच इज रिलेटेड टू द फिजिकल डिव्हिजन ऑफ इंडिया. दॅट इज द लास्ट वी लर्न द आइसलँड ग्रुप. सो वाय लर्न द आइसलँड ग्रुप वी गेट द स्टार्ट टू एंड ऑफ दिस सेकंड व्हिडिओ. फर्स्ट पोर्शन वी लर्न अबाउट द धिस रिजन इट इज नोन ॲज द हिमालया. देन सेकंड पोर्शन वी लर्न द नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन. देन वी लर्न द थर्ड पोर्शन विच इज नोन ॲज द पेनिन्सुला. आफ्टर दॅट we also learned the fourth portion which is known as the coastal plain. Then at last we learned the island group. This is known as the, means whatever the coastal plain related. This dot show us the islands. In this, the east side, east to south side, this side it is related to the Bay of Bengal island, and west to south side related to the Arabian Sea. Noted what we learned? East to south, this land is related to the Bay of Bengal, and west to south, this land related to the, sorry, not land but the ocean lines. This is the Arabian Sea. So it is the Arabian Sea and it is the Bay of Bengal. So this Bay of Bengal consists the portion of the Andaman and Nicobar Island, and this Andaman and Nicobar Island, it is also related to the active volcanoes or the barren island अला असं सुद्धा म्हटलं जातात. Which Andaman and Nicobar Island? Andaman and Nicobar Island, where the consists the another part which is related to the barren island. The barren island means that barren island it is also known as the active volcanoes. Active volcanoes म्हणजे काय? With the span of the time to time तिथे ॲक्टिव्ह म्हणजे volcanoes ज्वालामुखीचा उद्रेक होत असतो टाइम टू टाइम. इट मीन्स इट इज नोन ॲज द ॲक्टिव्ह volcanoes, and that active volcanoes it is known as the barren island. So it is the consists the Bay of Bengal, which is consists the part of the island group. Then the second group of the island, it is the Arabian Sea. Arabian Sea it is related to the Lakshadweep island, and the Lakshadweep island has related to the atoll. Now what is the meaning of the atoll? That atoll it means it is known as the volcanoes which is come from the underground of the ocean. आपण ते उदाहरण समजून घेऊया. For example, it is the ocean. It is the ocean. We consider it is the ocean, and whatever the ocean, there is the eruption of the volcanoes from the underground of water. There is the eruption of the volcanoes underground water. It means it is known as the atoll. What is the atoll? If there is the underground eruption of the volcanoes on the surface of the land which is consist into the island, it means it is known as the atoll. So now in this the video lecture, what we learned in the last video lecture of the first video lecture, which is the second video lecture related to the physical division of India, we learned the last, that is the island group. In the first, when we conclude our topic, the first we learned the north, first we learned the Himalaya, second we learned North Indian plains, okay. Then we third learned the peninsula. Then fourth we learned the coastal plain, coastal plain, spelling correct करून टाकाल, that is the coastal plain, and that last it is the whatever this portion, it is known as the island. So in this way we conclude that is the physical division of India in a 5 types: Himalaya, North Indian plain, peninsula, coastal plain and island. So this is the physical division of India. We learned that this is whatever that we learned from first video lecture and the second video lecture, it is known as the whole combination of the physiography. It means it is known as the physical division of India. आपण इंडियाचं जे काही 5 भागामध्ये जे विभाजन बघितलं त्याचा फिजिकल अपीअरन्स कसा याचा आपण अभ्यास केला आहे. So in this way we stop our first and second video period on that the physical division or a physiography of the Indian map. In a third video lecture we learn about the Brazil. So till you watch all this first and second video for the answer, and in the first video lecture we ask the question what is the meaning of the physical division of India. So in the second video lecture there is the answer of the physical division of India explained. So this question asks for the 3 or 4 marks in the view of examination. So I hope you learned that all the questions and write down in your notebook. And once again, whatever the question we asked in the first video lecture, physical division of India, so note down in your notebook, write down the answer of the physical division of India. Then in third video lecture we come soon with the whole physical division of the Brazil. So till wait for the third video lecture which is consists the physical appearance of Brazil. So still watch all this video. Thank you, and last please subscribe our Sanskar YouTube channel. Thank you.